Good morning to all. I welcome you to all in our today's session. And in this, we will study our next topic, that is object oriented, or you can say that orientation software design. Okay, that is your related to your OOPS concept. Okay, in your OOPS, you are studied that there is a class, objects, polymorphism, encapsulation. Okay, in your OOPS language, you have implement your code. But before that, in software engineering, before writing a code, we will design that all diagrams, your class diagram, your object diagram, there are use case diagrams, okay, there are sequence diagram, activity diagram, collaboration diagram, that all we will design before implementing our code using different languages. Okay, and for that, there are a concept that is object oriented software designs, and it is also known as OOSD. OO stand for object oriented, S stand for software, and D for design. Okay, and in this there are a concept of your object oriented system. Okay, I have told you that there is a class diagram, there is a object diagram, there is a use case diagram, collaboration diagram that we will design. Okay, then we will go for a next, that is our implementation. And for that, when we will design these, there is a language used. This is not a programming language, but this is a visual language. And that language is called UML, Unified Modeling Language. And this is a visual language that is used to show your system or your project in a graphical manner. Okay, the same way we have defined in our functional oriented design, there are tools used, that is your Microsoft Visio. That is a visual representation of your project or your systems. Okay, and in that we have designed DFDs, data flow diagram, and your structured charts. But now we will go further, and that is your object oriented software design is. And in this, there is a tool used, and the same tool that is Microsoft Visio can be used to draw these visual diagrams. Okay, using the concept of your object oriented. Okay, so language that is used, this is not a programming language, this is your visual language, and the name given to this language is Unified Modeling Language. Okay, before that, I will explain you what is object oriented is. Then I will show you the different UML diagrams. I will draw that diagrams on the board. Then I will explain in detail to a presentation. Okay. First of all, concept is your object oriented software design, and it is also called OOSD, or it is also called OOD. Okay, object oriented design, or you can also write that it is OOSD, that is software design. We are talking about a software design. Before writing a code, we have to design our product with the concept of OOPS as well. Okay. So OOD, that is object oriented design method, the system is viewed as a collection of objects. Okay. In your object oriented concept, there is a concept of class. Okay. And this class has an instance, and that instance are the objects. Okay. This class have an instance, that is object that we have studied in our OOPS concept. What is class is? Class is a collection of objects. Okay. And in the same way, we will draw the class diagrams, we will draw the object diagram. If I will say that this is the 5th semester, okay, this is the class name. Okay. Further in 5th, there is a 5th one. There is further 5th 2. This is your class, and these are the objects. Okay, that we have to show through a diagram. That is the first point, is explaining that object-oriented design method. The system is viewed as a collection of objects, and these are the collection of your object, and it is related to your single class. Okay. And these class or these objects are called as an entity. Like here is an example. The teacher is an object, and student is also an object of university. Of which class? If I am saying that this is a object of which class? That is the university. These two. Teacher is object, student is object, and these are the object of which class? University class. Okay, so we have to view our project or our system in the form of a collection of objects, and these objects are also called an entity. Okay, this is your entity. This is your entity. This is also called object. We are talking about the OOPS concept. This is your object is, and in your graphical notation, it's a single entity. This is your another entity, and the same way further entities are. We have to draw these ones. And this is your relation. Okay, this line represents your relation. The relationship between this object and this object. Okay, further we will study. There are different type of relationships. There is an aggregation. Sorry, there is an association. Okay, and in association there are aggregation. Further, there is a composition. Okay, and there is also a generalization. These are the relations that we have to mention in our different objects as well as in a class. Okay, I'm talking about a relationship between a teacher and a student, or the relationship between the entities. Okay, there are different relationships. If I'm talking about first relationship, that is your association. Association. Okay, mean this teacher is associated with the student, or your student is directly associated with your teacher. Okay, means this entity is associated with your next entity. That is association, and it is denoted by a line. Okay, it is denoted by a line, simple line that will show your relationship between different entities. And in your association, there is further two type of relationships are there. There is a aggregation, and next is your composition. Okay, next is your composition. This is also your relationship are in between your entities that I will explain you when I will draw the class diagram. Then we will use this aggregation and composition relationship. Only you have to understand what is, and they are come under your association relationship. And there is another relationship that is your generalization. Okay, and it is used for is a relationship. Is a relationship is come under your generalization relationship. Okay, and in this we will use an arrow with a triangle at one end. Okay, this type of arrow. This one. This is for generalization. Okay, and the arrow will point to the parent class, and further there is a child class. I will show you the diagram. Like if there is a car, okay, and in car there is a engine. This is a generalization relation in this one, because car is the parent class and engine is your child class, subclass of your superclass. Okay, with these two entities, if you want to show some type of relationship, this is your generalization relation. Okay, and it is also called as is a relationship. And further, there is also a second specialization. A specialization is the arrow will be inverted to the subclass. Means from your parent class, subclass is inheriting the property. And this is a relationship is called your specialization. Okay, this type of arrow. From your parent class to the subclass and pointing to your subclass or your child class. And this is what type of relation? This is your specialization relation. Okay, and it is also known as a relationship. As a. In generalization, there is a relationship with this one. In your specialization, if the specialization relationship is there, then that is called as a relationship. Okay, that we will study while we will draw the class diagram. Okay. Next is your related to your object oriented software design. The state is distributed among the objects. Okay, these are the states. These, the teacher is the state, student is the state. The state are distributed among the object, and these are also called as objects. Okay, these are the states and these are the objects. And each object handles its state data. Each state handles their objects. Sorry, data. Teacher have their own data. There is a teacher name. Okay, teacher age, qualification of teacher. That is the data of a single object or a single state. And in the same way, student have their own data. Student name, student roll number. Okay, student email ID, their contact number. That is the data. Okay, each state handles their own data. Okay, in the same way, this is the state handle their own data, and that we have to show that how that data is related to each other and the relationship to each one. What the teacher is related to a student, what they will perform. Okay, that we have to show through a graphical form, through a diagram form. We have to make a design. That is why the state is distributed among the objects, and each object handles its state data. Its state data will be handled by their own state, or we can also say that state is our objects. Okay. Then this OOPS Your object oriented design concept is popular in most of the languages like C++, Java, and .NET. Okay, your high level languages are easily implemented in your object oriented design. First of all, we have to make a design according to what type of language we will use in our coding. If we are using C++, according to that, we will make our design. And these languages are having the concept of your oops. In C++, there is a class concept. In Java, there is a class concept. And .NET is also have the concept of your oops. And according to that, we have to first design the product, then we will have to implement it. Okay, that is why we have to make a design according to OOPS concept also. That is why the name is given object-oriented design or your object-oriented software. Okay, that's all about your object-oriented is why we draw these diagrams. Okay. Next is your which language is used. Okay, which language is used? That is your UML. Stand for Unified Modeling Language. See, this is not a programming language. This is your visual language. Okay, this is your visual language, and it is used to draw the different diagrams. Okay, draw the different diagram or design to show your project, to show your system. Okay, and what are the diagrams are? Type of diagram that can be designed using your UML is first one is use case diagram. Okay, I will tell you how these diagrams and what symbols are used in this diagram. First of all, I will tell you all the types, then I will explain each and every diagram in detail. First is your use case diagram, second is your class diagram. Third is your sequence diagram. Fourth is your activity diagram. Fifth is your collaboration diagram. And last is your component diagram. Okay, these are the diagrams that we will design using the concept of UML. I have shown you the interface of this UML while we are performing a practical yesterday. There is the concept of UML. Okay, next practical is on a UML. And we have to draw these diagrams, use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, activity collaboration, and function. Only we have to drag and drop that symbol, but we have the knowledge of our project. Okay, how the data will be flowed. Okay, that is we have to show in these diagrams. How our project will flow from one state to another state. Okay, and it reaches to the destination. That we have to do according to these diagrams. Okay, I will explain the first diagram, that is your use case diagram. Use case diagram. Okay, and in this, the components that are used First is your use case, and it is like your ellipse. Okay, it is a symbol of ellipse, and it is denoted as your use case. Okay, as well as a goal. Use case or a goal that is performed by a user. Okay, and we will write the symbol is like your ellipse. We will write here the name of the goal. Like first goal is the user will log in. Okay, next goal is to search the item. Okay, the online shopping concept is there. Then search for an product. Okay, next these are the goals. It is your use cases are, and these goals are or these use cases are performed by a user. Okay, its symbol is your ellipse. And further, there is a second component that is your actor. Okay, the picture will be shown like this in your UML interface on your Microsoft. It looks like this, and this is your actor. The word that is used for this is the actor. Okay, actor who will perform that action. Okay, or goal who will perform this actor, and this actor can be your teacher. It can be your student. Okay, the name of that actor can be student. It can be your manager. Okay, it can be employee. Okay, the name we have to mention, and we have to mention at the bottom. Okay. And this is your second component that is used in your use case. And next is your rectangle, that is your system boundary. System boundary. Okay, that will tell what project you are making. And in this system boundary, we will place all these tools. Okay, I will place these goals at this position, and from the outside, the actor are performing that goal. Okay, like this way. This is your this rectangle is your system boundary, and I have to give the name here. Okay, the name of my project. I will show you with an example. I will draw completely use case diagram. But first of all, I will tell you what component is used in your UML is. Okay, this is your system boundary. That is in the form of rectangle. Okay, and last is your relationship. Relationship. Okay, it is with the state line, or it can be as a generalization that I have told you. Okay, and there is further that is a dotted line with an F, and at this place, I will write it here. Write the relationships. First is your this relationship is called association. Association and relationship. Then this is your generalization. Relationship. And further dotted line, and here we will write include. Okay, this is your next relationship, and here we write include. This is your include relationship. Okay. Next is your dotted line with uh, labeling that is extended. Sorry, extend. Okay, this is your relationship for extend a relationship. Okay, these are the relationships that are used in your use case diagram. A relationship from the user, from the actor to the use case. We will draw the association relationship. If there is parent-child relationship, we will draw this arrow. Okay, this block arrow with the parent-child relationship, and it is known as generalization relationship. Further, there is an include relationship. Okay, and further there is an extend relationship. Okay, I will tell you what this include and extend means. I will draw the diagram, and according to that, I will explain this include and extend or extend. Okay, this is your use case diagram is. Okay, in this is your actor. This is your system boundary. Okay, and I have mentioned the system boundary, that is a system name here, that is library system cases. Okay, these are the use cases, or you can say that these are the goals that are performed by a actor. Okay, borrow, order, fine remittance. Okay, these are the goals that are performed by different actors in our system. Okay, in our project, here the client is there, the employee is there, supervisor is the actor, and these actor will perform these goals. Okay, this is your use cases are. These are your actor. Okay, this is your system boundary, and this line, this is your association line. Okay, this line will tell your relationship of your actor with your use case. Okay, in this way, we will draw our diagram. And further, there is also a relationship of your include and extend. If this borrow, this use case, have there another sub use case or sub goal. After performing borrow, there is another sub case. Then I will draw another line, and I will mention here this is extend. Okay, and this symbol is already in your UML. Is only we have to drag it. Okay. Okay, I will write any type of name here after borrow, or if there is any payment module. A payment, it can be cash on delivery, or it can be further EMIs. Okay, that is the sub modules. Okay, that are the sub module from a main module. Okay, and this is your extends are used for these dotted line with a labeling on that. That is your extend relationship. Okay, and further, if there is any include relationship, and it will, if I say that this is finite mittens have their a relationship with another subsystem, then this will be mentioned that this is your include. Mean this sub function or sub use case is related to your final remittances. That is your include is used. Okay, and this include and extend is only used in your use case diagram. But these association lines, generalization is your parent-child relationship, and that will be used in your class diagram. Okay, and this is simple is your use case diagram. Okay, next UML diagram that we will study in the lecture is class diagram. Class diagram. And what is a class is? In Luke's concept, class is a collection of objects. Okay, in this we will create or draw a single object or a class, and that class have their data members and a member function. Means your class is, we will take a block, a single block. This is the diagram actually that is in your UML. We will only drag and drop, but how it's look like, there is a block, and in that block there is a three divisions are there. Okay, first is the class name. Okay, first is your class name. This is your class name. Okay, we will write here the name of that class, and further in this we will write a data member. Data member. Okay, and that data members, when we give the class in your fifth class, and fifth class have a student name, student roll number, student age. That is your data member. And further, at the third column or third division, there are operations, or you can say that function, or you can say that method that is performed by these data members. Okay, these data members, the student will perform these operations. That is your class. Okay, and this is also a concept of your encapsulation, wrapping up the data and a member function into a single unit. That is why it is a OOPS concept. Wrapping up the data and operation into a single unit. This is your single unit. That is your encapsulation. Okay, and while drawing a diagram, the diagram is look like this: a block with a three division. First is your class name, then your data member is, then third is your operation. Okay. First of all, I will write at the class name, that is the account name. Account name is the name of a class. Okay. It can be saving, it can be current, it can be RD account. Okay. That is your class name is. Then further data member is your customer name. Customer name. Then balance. Okay. And operation that is performed on these data member is your add fund, or your function is your add. Okay, withdraw. You can withdraw the amount from your account. Okay, you can transfer your amount. These are the functions that are performed by a customer, and that customer have a particular account. Okay, this is your class. This is your type. Class name, data members. This is your class name. Okay, this is your attributes or data. Attributes or your data is in your attribute. And this is your operation. Okay. This is your class diagram is, and in your class diagram, there is also a access specifier. We have studied that there are access specifiers are there. And what are they? The first is your public. Okay, that should be keep in mind while drawing this diagram. What data member is public, what data member is private, what data member is protected. First specifier is public, then protected, then private. And for these type of data members, we will use different symbols. If it is public, we will use plus sign before our attribute name. Okay, there are protected. Protected is noted as hash. Okay, if it is private, it is noted as minus. Okay, then at a customer name, this is private. So I will place before customer name that a minus symbol is, because it will mention that this customer name is your private. Okay, save the balance is also a private, and this is for a particular user only, first particular customer only. I will not check the account of my friend. Okay, that is why it is kept a private. A minus symbol is used to show that this is your private data. It is okay, private data. Then further, if I place here, this is a plus sign. This is a publicly assessed. This function, add function, withdraw function can be publicly assessed. Okay, it can be assessed at any ATM, at any bank. That is why it is a public. Okay, a plus sign is placed before your operation. If it is protected, then I will protect that. Okay, with a hash symbol. Any type of data member that is protected, you can use your hash symbol. Okay. If we want to write a data type, there should be a data type now. For that, we will write a function name, okay, parenthesis, then column, then what type of function this is. Add. Add is your string. Okay, this is what type? Add is your string type. Withdraw. Okay, withdraw is your integer type. Okay, you will give the values 10,000, 2,000, and it is in which data type? That is your integer data type. Transfer is also in the form of integer. We will write in this manner. We will give a data type also in our class diagram. Okay, this is your class diagram. Yes. Okay. Okay. Further, there are relationship in your class diagram. Okay, I will show you first relationship, that is your generalization. How it's work. This is your generalization relationship is. This is your main class. This is your subclass. That is name given to it is regular customer. Okay, this is your class diagram look like, and this is the single class. This is another class. You can say that this is a main class, and this is further their objects. Okay, this is your classes, and these are the objects. Objects of your main class. And we will also use a word. It is a container. Okay, container for your main class, and for your further objects, these are the containing. Okay, the same is your containing. That has a directly relationship with your class. Okay. A customer is a class, and further their object is there. There is a regular customer also. There is a loyalty customer also. These are the objects. Okay, and they have a directly relationship with the main class. And if there is a generalization, means this customer is your parent class and this is your child class R, then we will represent it with a arrow. Okay, arrow. This is your generalization defined with this arrow. Means this the arrow pointing to the class, that is your main classes, super class, and these are your further subclass. Okay, this is your container. This is your container. Okay, we will represent with this arrow. Okay, this is your generalization. Means customer is a parent class, and these are the object class, and this is also known as is a relationship. Means these regular customer is your object, and it is directly related to your customer. Customer is a relationship with your regular customer and loyalty. Means if we are going from top to bottom, then there is a relationship. Okay, then there is a relationship from top to bottom, main class to subclasses. Okay, super class to subclasses. That is your is a relationship. Okay, but if there is a relationship like this, means the arrow is pointing to your subclass. Okay, from your main class. Okay, from your super class to your subclass, means we are going from your bottom to top. Then there is a has a relationship. Has a relationship. Okay, and this is called your specialization. This is generalization. Sorry, your is A is a generalization, and as is your specialization relationship. Okay, that we have to mention while drawing our class diagram. Okay. Further, there are another relation that is association. Okay, and this is used for a static relationship. Static relationship, and your generalization and specialization is used for dynamic relationship. Okay, association is used for your static relationship that cannot be changed. Okay, and generalization and your specialization is used for your dynamic relationship that can be changed while drawing your diagrams or implementing your design. Okay, but association that is initially mentioned, that is your relationship should be there between your entity. Further, in your association, there is the two different types. That first is your aggregation. This is also a relationship under your association. And in this, there is no dependency. Dependency between entities. If there is no dependency between entities, I will show you with an example. Is if there is a library and there is a book, they have a relationship with each other. Okay, because in library there are books. Okay, but if there is no library and you have the books, okay, but if there is no library or your library can be destroyed with some reason, but you should have a book in your room, okay, or in the library. For some reason, your library is repairing for some reason, but books are there. You can place these books in another room and make that a library. Means I am saying that when you have to use an aggregation, when there is no dependency between the entities. Okay, there is no dependency between the entities, and library entity and book entity are not dependent on each other. And for that, we will use a relationship that is your aggregation, and it is like this: a diamond shape. Okay, a diamond shape arrow where there is no dependency between them. There we will use an aggregation. Then your last is your composition. Where there is strongly dependency between entities. Okay, like your car. Car is a first entity. It has a strongly dependency on engine and transmission. Okay, this is your composition is used for composition relationship, and it is filled diamond. Means without engine, your car is incomplete. Without transmission, your car is incomplete. Okay, that is your composition relationship. This is your symbol that is used for your composition. Means there is a strong link dependency between the entities. And that time we will use a symbol that is a filled diamond, and it is for your composition. Okay, without engine, your car is incomplete. Okay, without transmission, your car is incomplete. But with books, if there is no library, it is sufficient. Okay, you can make any room and make it a library. You can place your books in that room, and that is your library room. Okay, and for that you will use aggregation symbol, and it is your diamond without that is blank time. Okay. And generalization and your specialization is used for your superclass and subclass. Okay, these are the relationships that are used in your class type. Okay, and further we will study in our next lecture, that is your activity diagram, state diagram, collaboration diagram. These are the most important that we have studied in that today lecture, that is use case and the class type. Okay, hope you will understand each and every concept. Now I will present all the slides, and these are all related to the concept that I have teach. Okay, topic that is covered in this unit is your object oriented concepts and your UML. UML is your unified modeling language. Next, what is object oriented is object oriented design method. The system is viewed as a collection of objects. Okay, collection of objects, or you can say that the entities. Okay, and in these, the state is distributed among the objects. From one object to another object, there is a relationship, and they will handle their data from one location to another nation, because there is a flow of data between the objects that we have to show through a graphical form. And with to show that, we have to use a concept that is your object oriented concept. Okay, and there is an example, that is library automation software is there. Each library represent maybe separate objects with its data and functions. Okay, each and every library management system have their data. Okay, have their employees, have students, faculties. These are your objects, and each object have their data members and a member function. Teacher can have their name, their qualification. That are the data members, and what function they perform, that is the operation. Okay, that we have to draw in a diagram. Then there is a concept of your OOPS in your software engineering. Most of the languages like C++, Java, .NET are used in your object-oriented design concept. Object-oriented concepts are used in design methods such as classes, objects, polymorphism, encapsulation. And in a class diagram, there is also a concept of encapsulation. All that definition that we have studied in our OOPS language, okay, or in your C++, that all will be defined in a diagram form in your OOD concept. OOD in software. Okay, OOD is your object-oriented design. The main advantage of object-oriented design is that improving the software development and maintenance. Okay, why we are using that OOD concept? Previously, we are using functional oriented, but there is also OOD concept according to your functional also. And for OOPS concept, there is also a improvement in development of your design as well as maintainability of your design as well as your software. Okay, another advantage is that faster and low cost development. Okay, with the concept of OOPS, there is a faster technique to develop your product. Okay, and the cost is reliable. And most important point, your product is a quality product. Design that is made with the concept of your food, it is a quality product. Further, unified modeling language already has a ISO standard. Okay, your UML language passes through a standard, and that standard is your ISO IEC 19501. Okay, this is the standard name for designing your product with the concept of UML. And ISO is the International Organization for Standardization. Okay, this is the standard to maintain your design. According to this standard, we have to make a design of our product. Next, further, we will study the UML, what is modeling languages, what is UML, and their brief history. Further, in modeling, what is modeling is describing a system at a high level of distribution. Okay, and if there is a high level, there is an abstraction also. Okay, in your high level concept means if we are talking about object oriented, there is an abstraction concept also. There is an encapsulation. Okay, wrapping up the data. So only showing the functionality, but not showing the coding. That is the abstraction is. That is why a name given is modeling. Modeling is describing a system at a high level of abstraction. A model of the system is designed using your modeling language, used for requirements and specification. Okay, these modeling are used for your requirement specification as well. Then your evolution of your object oriented design is before 80s or in your 70s, 1970, 1980, we are using only structured programming. Okay, and according to structured programming, we will create a structured design and structure analysis are performed. But after 1980s, there is a concept of object oriented programming, and according to that, we are using an object oriented design and also a concept of your object oriented analysis to make the design of your product. Then we will go for a coding according to object oriented design. Next is what is UML is. UML stand for Unified Modeling Language. Okay, and it is industry standard graphical language, not a programming language. It is a graphical language. That is a visual language. This is graphical language for specifying, visualizing, and constructing and documenting the artifact of the software. Okay, creating a design, visually showing your project, how your data will be flow, how your product will be work. That is done with the help of a UML language, and that is your Unified Modeling Language. The UML uses mostly graphical notations. Okay, here we will use graphical notation like use case diagram. In your use case, there is an actor, there is a system boundary. Okay, that's all. Then simplifies the complex process of your software designs. Using a UML, it simplifies your software design concept. And in your UML, use graphical notations, help acquire overall view of your system. Okay, in this, we also go for a class diagrams, component diagram, activity diagram, flow charts are there. That will show you overall view of your system. UML is not dependent on any one language. Okay, it is not dependent on any language. It is not dependent on C++. It is not dependent on Java. It is not dependent on .NET. Okay. If we are coding in any language, any high language, we can draw that design for that. Okay. UML moves us from a fragmentation to standardization. Okay. UML concept moves us from a fragmentation to a standardization concept. This is a diagram or a chart is shown from a fragmentation concept. Now we are moved to a industrialization concept. Okay. There is different method to draw your diagrams. There is a Bosch method. There is a OMT. OMT is your object modeling technique. Okay. OMT is object modeling technique. Previous in fragmentation concept, this OMT concept is used to draw your diagram. And after that, when there is a standardization, we will came up to your UML after a public feedback. There is a technologies, environment is changing. Okay, according to that, technology is also changing, and we have to adapt that technology. And this is your history of UML. Then further types of UML diagram, and there is a use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, state diagram are there. We have to draw all these diagrams using the concept of your UML. First of all, what is use cases? Used for describing a set of user scenario. Okay, use case are used to describe only a according to user perspective. What user okay, user case is according to your user perspective. User scenario wise, we have to draw the use case diagram and mainly used for capturing your user requirement. Okay, and in this different components are used. There is an actor, there are use cases that are the goals, and there are the system boundaries. This is your actor is, this is your use cases. Okay, and further the rectangle or a block is your system boundary. And further in your use case, there are a relationship. Association is there, that is with the simple straight line. Communication between an actor and a use case is represented by a solid line. Okay, communication between actor and a user. Then your generalization is your relationship between one general use case and a special use case, that is a parent and child. Okay, and generalization is represented by a line with the triangular arrow head toward the parent use case. And further there are include, extend. What is include is used for? The include relationship occur when a chunk of behavior is similar. Okay, include when there is a chunk of behavior is similar across more than one use case. Means from one, there are more than one use case are there. Then we will use which relationship? That is include. And when we use extend, the extend use may add behavior to the base use case. Okay, the extend use case may add behavior to the base use case. The base class declare extension point. And here is a diagram of your use cases. Okay, this is your actor, this is also actor, employer, supervisor, and these are the use case. And further solid line is for your association. And this is another example with a proper project. That system name is your clinic, and this is your system boundaries. And further, these are your use case, and these are the actors that are performing that goals. Patient cancel their appointment. Patient can make appointment. Okay, and make appointment includes check patient record. Without checking patient record, we scheduler cannot make any appointment to any patient. Okay, so here the include relationship mentioned that check patient without checking patient means make appointment include which use case? That is a check patient. Without checking a patient record, appointment cannot be made by a scheduler. Okay, and same a medication. Okay, doctor makes a medication. It cannot be make medication or request medication without checking a patient record. And this use case is included in your request medication as well as your make appointment. Means the include relationship occur when a chunk of behavior is similar across more than one use case. And this check patient is similar for your make payment as well as for request medication. That is why we have given a relationship include. Okay. And further, there is extend also. Defer payment. And defer payment cannot be done without a payment bill. Your reimbursement cannot be done without a bill slips, and that is your extend mentions. And pay bill is your parent class, and defer payment is your subclass. Okay, this is for extend, and this relationship is used for your generalization. Okay, this is your child use cases, and this is your parent use cases. For that relationship, we will use generalization. Okay, that's all explanation is mentioned here. Then further class diagram is there, and in class diagram there is a name of class, there is attribute of class, and further there are operations. And this minus symbol is used for a private access specifier, means customer name is private, balance is private. Plus and plus is used for your public. These functions are publicly accessed. Okay, this is your class diagram. And further in your class diagram, there is a generalization, relationship, and association. Okay, generalization is parent-child relationship. Association is your example is given student enroll in course, and further association has a further classification, aggregation, and composition. Okay, this is your generalization. Customer, further these are the customer is your parent, regular and loyalty is loyalty customer is your child, and it is have a relationship with the generalization. Okay, and further all that explanation of your association is in your association. There is a multiplicity concept also. Okay, multiplicity means cardinalities. One relationship, 0 to 1 relationship, many to number of relationship. Star is for many relationship, 0 to star is 0, or it can be many. And here is a association with a university and a person. Means a university is one university, or it is a nothing. Okay, if it is one, means this is a single university, and in this single university there are number of persons, and that number of persons can be a student or it can be a teacher. Okay, there is a association relationship. Is this solid line mention you a association, and in association there is also a multiplicity concept is. Okay, and further this is your class diagram is there is a relationship between different classes. This is a order class, this is a customer class, corporate customer is this is the sub customer or your subclass of your which class, customer class. Okay, this is the complete class diagram. Is with this we will draw our diagram in. This is an example that explain you a complete class diagram. Okay, there is one into many relationship between order and a customer. There is a single customer, he can perform multiple orders. Okay, and this is also example of student and cost. There is a single student who can enroll for a multiple courses. Okay, and further there is a composition. Okay, this is your main class, it is also called as whole class, and further there are part class, that is your child class. Okay, and if we are talking about composition, means this is your main classes, and it has a strongly dependency between these part class and a whole class. Whole class is your container class, your super class, and your part class is your subclass or your containing class, and it is also called a part class. Okay, example is here automobile, car. Car is your automobile. It is strongly dependent on engine and transmission. If we have to give a relationship, then we have to draw this diamond filled diamond. And further there is aggregation. Okay, there is a container class, there is a containing class, or this is your whole class, this is your part class. They have a limited dependency, not much dependency is there, and for that we are using an aggregation. Okay, that's all for today's lecture. This is all explanation is there in these slides. You can go through these slides. If you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. Now I will launch a poll. You have to answer that. First question on your screen.